It's great that you brought up pests and bugs because it's a tacit agreement that the gardening styles, the seed saving culture that we're practicing here is is organic. We are not using traditional pesticides, chemicals um, on our gardens or on our seeds. Is that true with the seeds that go through your library?
Well, we have the heirloom seed library collection that is in the public library, and patrons can check out seed packets. And the idea is that they check out 4 seed packets, grow the harvest, which can be flowers, herbs, vegetables, and then the idea is that they save those seeds and return them to the library, like you would return a book or an item.
Sure.
So we try and have heirloom seeds. That's what's in our collections. However, we have people that donate seeds to our public library all the time. So anything that does not go in our collection or that is given to us, we actually save those. And when we have seed swaps, we
Goes up
have
to a
those
free table.
available for the public because, seeds are seeds and food is food. And we want to help our community. So,
Yeah, but at the end of the day, you have to be able to say, I would like to check out, this ragged Jack kale. How do I know it's ragged Jack kale? How do I know that this is exactly what I'm getting? Because why don't you enlighten us about how that? If someone wants to check out Jacinto kale, how do we know that the seeds that they're getting or the seeds that you're giving them are what they say they are?
well, the public library when we do purchase seeds for our collection, we purchase them as heirloom seeds from companies such as Baker Creek
Reputable
Seeds.
reputable
Yes,
sources, okay?
reputable sources. Now, when patrons return seeds, of course, we want viable seeds in the collection, and we hope that those seeds that are in the collection are heirloom seeds.
Please tell me it's not just hope that you're using. Like,
Well,
what are the discerning factors?
I mean, we have to.
John here is returning some kohlrabi this year, right?
Yeah.
He's got kohlrabi seeds for you. Does that seed every year in your climate?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's got kohlrabi seeds. How do you know whether you're going to put that into the library collection? Or if it's going to end up in the seed swap, what are the discerning factors?
It has to be what is the condition of the seeds that are being turned into us,
Okay.
and are they viable? Do they germinate? But as far as guaranteeing 100% that those are heirloom seeds, we're the public library. We do our very best, and
that's okay.
I mean, we're here as a service to help our community, and so if I have someone that wants us to guarantee, unless it's something that we've purchased for the collection, and if someone comes up and says, I want you to guarantee that these are 100% heirloom, we are unable to do that. However, most of the people who do donate seeds, if we've had that particular variety of cultivar in our collection and that person has saved that, and when they return it, they fill out a slip,
Sure.
we're going to assume that they've saved it from our collection. And also, with a phone call to them, we can verify that, yes,
Beautiful.
this is
Okay,
an
so there-
heirloom seed.
So it's not just hope. You are actually doing some follow up.
Oh, yeah.
Because one of the biggest problems that seed libraries or seed banks face is the return. We are a grassroots effort. We exist only because people from the bottom wanted to create change. These are not things that the government, is interested in funding or advertising. This is a product of the grassroots. The grassroots is defined as creating change from the bottom up. So when you get together with your neighbors and you decide, hey, let's start a seed bank for our church or our neighborhood, that is a grassroots effort. That's the grassroots activity and it's activism at its finest, here in America. Getting people to return seeds is the biggest challenge that seed libraries and seed banks face. Now, anybody can, the way that it works is you borrow, you grow, return, and repeat, correct? So if John were to return seeds to me knowing John or having an interview with him, you'd ask basic questions. Where did you grow these? Were they isolated? Was anything else in the family growing and flowering at the same time? Just basic questions. Did they cross? You have what are some of the families of vegetables that are like guaranteed to cross in your garden?
Nebraska family plants always cross.
You're kidding me? Like they're the motley crew. They get together with every other Nebraska in the neighborhood and cross. So basic questions like was anything else flowering? Where did it grow? Where is your garden? And then just by that rapport, we are able to understand that John is an advanced library user. He has basic seed saving knowledge, and as far as we know, his seeds are good enough to go into our stock, our library catalog. And anything less than that ends up as free seed for giveaway or for donation. I mean, it's still food. It just might not be, And even companies like Baker Creek or Stover or you name the company cannot guarantee that. Well, they can guarantee it with a money back guarantee, but they don't always know that what they're going to sell you is exactly what it is that they're claiming it to be. Every now and again, you'll get things that are off types. It happens, I've gotten flowers that came out a different color altogether than what the package said. And that's nature. Things are open. Heirlooms are defined by what? What makes an heirloom? You're an heirloom seed library. So for the basic layperson, what does heirloom mean? What are heirloom seeds?
Well, heirloom seeds are open pollinated variety of cultivars or seeds, and also it has been saved from the mother plant generation to generation. It has to have been over 50 years. And so in our collection itself, we have, for our seed, we've got 55 varieties right now, or cultivars that are available for the public to check out. And our labels have beginner, intermediate, or advanced.
Fantastic.
And that is not how easy or difficult it is to grow those varieties. It's how easy or difficult it is to save those seeds. Mm-hmm. And so...
give us some examples of what are easy, what are intermediate, what are difficult seeds to save for both of you, honestly.
Beans are very easy. Tomatoes are easy. Intermediate would be sunflowers. Difficult would probably be your brassicas.
Chard.
Yeah.
I don't. Do you agree, or do you have other things on this
Yeah, I mean,
list?
I grow a lot of like unusual and rare things that like just don't have any other things that would cross. So like.
Ashitaba.
Yeah, well, Ashitaba is one, but I did grow like New Zealand Angelica, which it will cross with.
Really?
So I have some but the cool thing is they flowered at different times, so I know they're isolated.
Right.
And like things like Achichar, Bolivian cucumbers, like no standard cucumber will cross with that. It's so different, my Egyptian spinach, I grew two varieties. I don't think they cross because they're so different, but they might have different genes. But for me, it's not so important that it's true to type. It's more important that I grew it in my garden and then I'm replanting it, so it's already inheriting some of the properties. And as long as it's a food crop, I'm still eating it despite whatever name you want to call it. Some of my tree collards that cross are so amazing, just like crossing a true tree collard that's perennial with like a dinosaur kale. So it has like tree collard that grows tall, like 6 feet tall, but then has like dinosaur kale style leaves. I mean, it's all food for me.
Are you creating land races at this point with these things that are repeating themselves over and over in your garden?
I mean, I just keep collecting and saving my seeds. Some of them I get lazy and I don't collect. They drop and they just sprout up new things, and that's half the fun of gardening for me, to see like what kind of new stuff I'm creating.
And the awesome thing about that and being able to do that is that you know what's going into your garden. You know what amendments have gone into it. You know what the soil from the ground up down to when it's being watered, and you can trust that food. It doesn't matter if it's now become a kale kohlrabi or whatever, whatever cross it is. The point in talking about that is that with seed libraries and seed banks, the average American or layperson coming to get seeds is looking for a specific variety. It's a variety that their family loves. Like this person likes Detroit beet, where this other family really loves the mellowness of the Chioggia beet. They also like the color, so they want to get the Chioggia beet. They're not interested in just getting any beet. So that's why asking these questions, making the differentiating whether these seeds are what they're supposed to be, and then figuring out if they're viable is important. So now, how do you know if they're viable? How do you know if your seeds are viable? Or is it a guess? Is it by looking, or is it because they're mature?
Germination tests.
You guys do germ tests.
Well, Yeah, I mean, for particular varieties, we do that. But one of the things that we
I
are
applaud
struggling
you. I
with.
applaud you.
Well, one of the things we are struggling with because we
Mhm.
haven't done a lot of that, but we're
It's
struggling with the return. Well, it's not struggling with; it's a challenge
that's
to get
okay.
patrons. But you were talking about patrons coming in and wanting particular varieties, what they
Sure.
like. But for the public library, we're getting people that have never ever gardened before.
That's
They've
fantastic.
never grown their own food. They've never even cooked or know how to prepare food.
Mhm.
I've had individuals that garden all the time, but they don't know how to prepare certain
Which is
vegetables.
awesome about a
So,
library because they can check. They can also check out a cookbook
yes,
or a gardening book.
yes, yeah,
Right?
and that is true. And we have the collections that we have are in the gardening section. They're in bins right next
Fantastic.
to the gardening section, and not too far from it is the cookbook.
So now, your library system. Do people have to have a public library card, and are they scanned and barcoded and checked out, just like books?
We do the patrons.
Yes.
We ask that they have a library card, that they be
Okay.
a Greene
Uh-huh.
County library public library card holder. We don't catalog the seed packets. What we have at our service desk is we have barcodes, and they're just for statistical purposes.
Got it.
So patrons can check out 4 seed packets. So we scan each of those barcodes and then check them back in, and it's just for statistical purposes.
Fantastic. So that's still the grassroots. Even though libraries are institutions that are run, from the top down, it's when it comes to the seed library, it's loose. It's loose. It's kind of loose. It's not. I mean, it's
We tell our patrons we're not the seed police.
fantastic.
I mean, basically, we want them to grow and enjoy the harvest. We want them to learn and ask questions. I mean, we're here to enrich. That's what the public library is. We're here to enrich their lives and have information for them and a bale of.
Are you the leader of your branch's seed library program right now?
No, but
Are
my
you-
branch manager's shaking her head. Yes,
Yes. Yes.
there is actually a group of us. We're a committee that works together to do this. But I have to say that I'm probably the most vocal.
Well,
At least right this moment, I am.
for this area, if your town or city does not have a seed library, this is something that needs to happen. You don't have to purchase seeds every year. You can learn to save them together as a community, and that's what seed libraries are designed to do. It's it's giving education away for free, um, disguised as checking something out.
And if you don't mind if I touch on that,
Please do.
there is a book that is called The Seed Library, and I highly recommend it. If you in your community you want to start a seed library, it's wonderful. It has a lot of information and resources when you do that. Also, I've had several different entities around the Springfield County, well, outside the Springfield County, that have contacted me, and I'm more than happy to help or contact any fellow seed library, because we really want to build upon what we're doing, and your success is everyone's success. So
It's like a co-op grocery store. They're all in some way connected, So, as a seed librarian to another seed librarian, like we are brother and sister, and our branches are connected, even though we have never, reckoned. The way that we run is a little bit different. We've got a couple branches that are in libraries, and what's attractive to that is that the amount of people that can have access, and which is people of all ages, children, school groups, and neighborhoods. Getting that information through flyers or newsletters. So that's really important. But as a central library, I run the Central Seed Library, and the reason for that is that I want to have seeds that are available to the whole growing region. So that extends from Los Angeles to through Southern California, all the way to parts of Arizona before it starts getting too hot. I see it as one growing region, one growing climate region, very Mediterranean, with some microclimates along the coast or on the mountain, but also to not reinvent the wheel. It's I'd rather that we stay unified stay connected, and instead of having a small community, having a large family. So if you're in the area and your town has got some space, it could be at a church, it could be at a school, it could be at your home, in your garage, and you have time, or you know someone who does, contact, anybody, any seed library. You can find them on Facebook. There's a whole network of them, or the Springfield branch, and find out about how you can start a seed library. It's as simple as talking to somebody, and showing up to life with the intent of creating community.
I can say I'm kind of talking about that. Every seed library, the goal I think is the same. Is
is.
basically to help your community and get seeds into the hands of the people, so you can become self-sufficient, and also to help with the diversity of your community. And your growing community, but also every seed library is different. When you do create one, no one of them is the same, and that's what I think is so wonderful, because you're
very
able
organic.
to find what works in your community, and make it grow.